Hey, it's Ashley, and I am live on the Western Fashion Behind the Scenes podcast. And I'm so excited because today I have my friend Jessica Garza. She is the founder of Market in the Mountains at Moose Valley Ranch. She lives in Washington. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi.
I'm excited because you are a controversial person. This is what I like about you the most.
I
So
don't feel controversial. I'll say that. I don't feel like I am.
okay, maybe controversial is not the right word. Maybe curious person who likes to explore people's narratives in life. You like to learn about people. How did you get where you're at? Tell me a little bit about you.
Honestly, I don't even know how it morphed into this sort of awesome, amazing opportunity that I got. So I started the ranch as a way to diversify my family's agricultural opportunities. The ranch we have is not big enough for two families. Can't run enough cows, can't make any more acres to support two families. This was my way of my family on the property and doing it around traditional agriculture. So I started doing all these things and created Gather, which is a rural women's entrepreneur group here in the Pacific Northwest. Because they're really, you hear about like Girls of the West and all these awesome things. It is always in like Arizona with the cactuses and Colorado with the mountains. And we didn't really have anything in the Pacific Northwest. So we started it. Then it snowballed and we had an event where the girls they could bring their things to see. Cause we were finding you'd go through the whole event and then all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, you're the girl with the purses. You make the purses. And then they would connect it. So we said, okay, bring your stuff next time. Everybody, we're just going to throw tables out, bring your stuff. So we'll all get to know each other. People online saw it and were like, wait, is this the shopping thing? Can I come shop? And we said, no, it was just for the entrepreneurs. And out of that, that many DMs, I was like, I guess we need a market, a Western market up here. And so away we went and started a Western market.
So, what year is it right now? In the
We're done with year 2, we're heading into year 3. So this year's
okay,
market will be year 3.
and this year, tell me when is it and how do we find out about it?
September 21st and 22nd in Springdale, Washington. You can find out about it on social media, on our website. Everything is Moose Valley Ranch.
And I think you're pretty humble. So this is a pretty big ordeal and a pretty big feat. I know that I know a couple of the vendors that were there last year, and I got to participate with some of them. I can see that this is you really trying to bring women together from a level of we're all the same. We all deal with the same kind of problems. We all have the same ups and downs. How do we do it together? And how do we have community? Tell me a little bit about your feelings around this.
I think that was at like the heart of it. Truly, it was. We have all these amazing women that are off on their farms and their ranches and they're raising their babies and they're all trying like in their own way on social media or traditional marketing to do their thing and feeling really isolated. I know that's how I felt when I started looking at could we do glamping? Could we do hosted hunts? And it was like, I don't know anybody else doing this or who understands what it's like and dealing with it. And so that's at the heart of everything is truly to bring the community of women together. And it's not just women, like at Market, as we have wonderful male vendors too at Market. But it really started from a sense of community. And there wasn't an event like this in my community that I wanted to go to. And so I started it.
It's not for the weak of heart, though. I would guess that it seems great. You seem like you're always put together on some level. If you watch your stories, you have very heartfelt moments, though, of failure where you're like, I want to share with you why it's so hard to be a human today. And I think that part of that is for sure your background in a lot of things. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you're qualified to run this kind of an event.
I don't know that I was qualified to run it when I started it. I definitely am now, but I was a law enforcement officer for a decade and specialized in crimes against children and internet crimes against children. So I saw a very bleak and shocking side of a lot of people. And especially I worked in the community I lived in for a long time. And so the crimes that were happening just down the road, literally just down the road. And that kind of made me feel like someone's got to start to change the community that we were seeing, that I was seeing, which you do get jaded. I was always seeing the worst of the worst, right? That's just where the calls happen for the most part. But it was like someone's got to do something. We can't just sit around and complain about it for the rest of our lives about why don't we have what I don't know Leavenworth has or wherever. We got to do it. We just have to do it. So I did it.
I think people are right there with you right now. They're feeling uneasy in their own community. They don't know where to start, who to connect with. They have a lot of excuses, reasons why, oh, it's too far. It's too much. It's at nighttime. It's this. I can't connect. I have kids. I have that. And the reality is you just have to do it, right? It's very out of your comfort zone. I wouldn't say you're a professional at being uncomfortable, but you are willing to take risks, right? You're at like, I want 100 no's every day because I'm going to get that one. Yes, I see this in
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that in you. Are you, give me some more good advice, right? For those people that are like, how do you do all this? Where do I even start? I want to make a difference in my community, but I don't know how.
I think it starts just by showing up. I think it starts, you have to show up. You can talk about it and talk about it, talk about it. You can get on Facebook and post about it. But everywhere around us, at least that you're looking, every community event is dying that's ran on volunteers because they can't find volunteers to show up. So start by showing up, getting off your computer screen and showing up in person in the community that you live and work in. That's all I did. That's all I did was show up in my community. And then it just snowballed from there. I did not start out 4 years ago, 5 years ago to create a ginormous Western market in the middle of the field. That wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah, this year it'll be 2 days, right? And it's
Yes.
how many attendees did you have last year ish?
So last year we were around 1,400 attendees in the field, which was a 300% increase from year one. And year one and year two were 1 day events. So we're pushing into 2 days of events. It's a lot.
You're going for it, girl. Thank you for your service, by the way. That's a really impressive thing to say, especially not that a woman or man, but from a woman's point of view, there's some heart wrenching, gut
Yeah.
breathtaking things that make anyone not excited about being in that. Do you find that it's hard to get past people's like your judgment around people? Have you seen it be challenging?
I don't think so. At the times that you're seeing the worst of the worst, you're still seeing the best of the best. You're seeing the families that drop everything at 2 in the morning to come help in the situation. And you're seeing the social workers that aren't batting an eye about using their own money to go buy things for these kids or just any a crash on the highway. How many cars pull off with their hazards on and they're running to come help because maybe they're a nurse or they've got some training or heck, they're just a farmer who's handy and he'll unhook the battery for you so the truck doesn't light on fire. I don't know. There is really some shining moments of the best of people too. So I'm not jaded. I'm probably just a lot closer to the no BS side of it, which is where I think when you say controversial, I'm guessing that's what you're hinting at. There's not a lot of BS on my side of things. It's a one and done sort of situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is where this is fun, right? You are what and done is a good idea. You talk a lot about things that are a little bit controversial. One of those is family farms, generational land. How do you talk to somebody about, hey, how many acres do you own? Hey, how'd you get started? Hey, how many cows do you have? Hey, this is something that's a hot topic on your page. Let's talk about a few of the hot topics, including that
Yeah.
one and how you've handled them gracefully.
I think for me, handling them gracefully understands that my perspective, we don't have to share. We can have different perspectives, and I can still respect you as a person if we engage at a level where that respect is given on both sides. I'm never out here to change your mind or stand on a soapbox and think I'm right about everything, but it takes respect both ways. I think gracefully in that. But I'm sure you read in my reels, I'll clap back. If you're going to sound off and be stupid about it,
Ignorant.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally ignorant. Just doesn't know what they're talking about. Had zero complete, no competent. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah, I'll clap back. Or if you ask me a really dumb question and it's right in the caption, I'll just say it because somebody needs to say it.
Nobody had a mom that told them yet.
I guess not. I'm shocked by the amount of people that interact with me on my page that just come from and it's just like a head scratching. You have no scope, you have no experience, and you don't even have scientific studies from anywhere to back up the statements you're making. And you're going to argue with me I'm assuming you're hinting at the farm safety one. That's popped off a lot.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about some things that have gone on lately because a lot of people, if they haven't found you, how do they find you first?
Yeah.
What is your handle on Instagram?
It's just Moose Valley Ranch at Moose
Okay.
Valley Ranch. All one word, no underscores, nothing tricky. So we've had a couple things pop off. So I did a farm safety reel, obviously as a first responder, and I'm no longer a first responder. My husband is still though. One of the worst things for us to respond to is child deaths. That's just, yeah, you don't ever get over it. You never I don't know. I don't ever think you truly process your way through it. You just shove it in a box and keep moving, but it's made us very conscientious. We have two of our own kids, and it's hard not to be a helicopter mom because I do want my kids to be wild and free and trip and skin their knees and play and stuff like that. But I'm also very aware that we can't bring them back if they die. So there's a line. Like there's a line for the skin knee, broken arm, did something stupid. And then there's a line for we can't replace you as a human. I did a reel on farm safety. I quoted a national center who did research in children and agricultural incidents. Like I read the fact sheet. I double checked the data. I was like, okay, I feel comfortable sharing this. And I just shared 3 things that we do to keep our kids safe. 3 things that, and it's the things that it's not by any means like those are our only 3 rules or these are the most important 3 rules. It was just the 3 most commented things that I get in my DMs of people saying, "Oh, I didn't think about that. I've never thought about," or we've had friends over playing and the equipment's moving and we'll tell their kids run to the high side and my girlfriends will be like, "What does that mean? I've never heard that." And so I just shared like the 3 that I had heard no one knew about. Oh boy, howdy. Did I open the floodgates? And I had no idea. It was truly with the best of intentions. I just thought if my friends hadn't thought about it, there's probably other moms that hadn't thought about it. And homesteaders, it's a big push right now to get out to the country. And I see a lot of them operating tractors and letting their like little kids operate heavy equipment and stuff. And it's very common. And it's like a farm kid's built different, but they're not built different and they're not old enough to problem solve quickly and get themselves out of situations. Like they're all good on flat land and there's no issues until there is an issue. So I shared and oof, I don't even know what I think we're over 3.5 million views on it now and thousands of comments.
It's by far one of your biggest reels, if not the biggest one
Yeah.
you've ever had, as far as people having a knee-jerk reaction, wanting to say something back.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a big one, and I suggest people go look at it. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put a direct link to that video because that's what we're talking about here. See, Western
Yeah,
fashion behind the scenes is curious, right? Because you share a lot about fashion. You
I
have
do.
small businesses sending you packages every day.
No, not most of that is purchase. I
Oh,
actually
okay.
don't I've never
Well,
had a
okay,
brand
you
partnership.
might be buying it, and that's really good of
Yeah.
you. I'm not knocking you.
Oh, yeah,
So
no, I just mean I'm not some info I just want, like, your people to know. I was so flattered when you were like, "I wanna talk to you," and I'm like, "But I'm not fashion, and I like to wear cute clothes, but I don't dabble in that."
okay, but you have a lot of eyeballs on you, and that sets the trend for what people want to wear, what they see as popular, because you're popular in some fashion. And so it's fun because you have a really unique style that's very classy and eclectic, and you're magical. I love the way you present yourself. And people want a good, confident role model. You're a great, confident role model for women. And it's hard to find those inside of Western fashion, inside of anywhere right now. So because you're such a leader in your community, I'm like, hey, this will be fun. Not only do you have that really controversial reel, you have one about something else that's
Same.
controversial, and that
Yeah.
is it's about knocking off people. So the leather industry, right? People make handmade goods and then China knocks them off, and there's just one specific company that does a lot of that. And talk to me a little bit about that and how that has been received.
So it started because I really had no frame of reference for it before starting Market. I just had my few boutiques that I know and loved and could go to for pieces. Definitely with starting Market, I got exposed to a lot more fashion and boutiques and leather workers. And as like the buzz around that has grown, just more and more information has come my way. And I don't know, maybe a year ago, we started having conversations in the back end of things. Obviously, my background as a police officer, my Enneagram, like whatever else, personality traits, my loud mouth, whatever you want to put in the tink tink lineup of stuff, I am a real, oh, injustice just kills me. Injustice is so hard for me. Sometimes I just want people to acknowledge that injustice has happened to me. I don't expect anyone to fight my battles for me, but there are times where I've just been left speechless by friends and contacts who have watched something happen and then they just say nothing. And honestly, you're condoning the behavior by not addressing it. I'm not saying you have to fight my battles, but I'm sorry, I was just thinking on this today, talk about content. And it might, who knows, timing wise, it might pop out. But if you're going to not support me in private, don't support me in public.
Whoa, yeah, watch out.
That I'm like, I'm getting real spicy on, especially as my page has grown, of how many people will sit there behind the scenes and chatter back and forth but they're always liking the next reel and they're always commenting and they're always acting online like they're number one cheerleader and they're doing nothing but that or anything but that on the backside. And so that phrase has just been kicking around. I haven't put it out anywhere. It's not in my stories, nothing. But I've been ruminating on this thing of if you are going to support someone in private, you should not support them online. And I'm not saying tear them down. I'm not saying you need to go put them on blast or whatever. A lot of people just don't handle confrontation that way. But like maybe stop sliding in their DMs every other day and liking everything they do if you're just trashing them in private. It's weird.
I have
It's
so
just weird.
much to say about this. I have so much to say about this. So, I am an athlete. And when I say I'm an athlete, I grew up, didn't have anyone in my family played sports. In seventh grade, my best friend was like, "You should play volleyball." I'm like, "What's volleyball?" And I end up being good at it. So then I play volleyball, basketball, softball, track, very good at things, right? Grow up, do all these things, become good at things, and realize as I become good at things that people talk about me. And not only do they talk about me, like sometimes it's not good. And I'm not like I'm naive to that.
I didn't know that.
As an athlete though, I learned that leadership meant sitting on the bench cheering for someone. Leadership meant playing on the front row. Leadership meant going first. Leadership meant sitting back watching people fail. As I leadership journey, and I see you're on the same leadership journey, we're like, hey, how do I navigate this successfully and make people feel like A, they're included, B, this is something that they want to do, and C, they can be leaders too. And I say all that because I'm watching this kind of injustice come into our circles, and people will say one thing to my face and do something completely different behind my back. I am a leader from the bench. I like to cheer for everyone. If I slide into your number one spot because I'm commenting on your thing, it's because I genuinely mean it. When people take that and twist that, this is a whole nother level of people being upset that people are leaders and they're not. So if you're feeling jealous or you're feeling triggered by this conversation, it's because you're not a leader. Wake up, become a leader in your own community, be a good person, or choose not to, but don't try to tear down leadership just
Yeah.
because you're not in that position. You don't feel comfortable doing it. Right? It takes guts and courage to be a leader. Like, I'm sure you're like, swallow hard. Whoa. There are times that test your leadership. Talk to me about those times. The ones that make you go, "Whoa." How do you deal with moving through that kind of uncomfortable phase?
I think you lean into it. I think you lean into it and you own up to it. Because I've made mistakes. I've said not kind things about people and then continued to work with them. I have. I would be hypocritical if I sat here and stood on a gold pillar or something and acted like I'd never done wrong to anyone. But I think it's recognizing that everyone has a fire, right? And I can choose to feed your fire or I can just choose to walk away. And it's as simple as that. I don't have to throw water on it. I don't have to put it out. I'm not trying to put out your flame. Your flame will burn with or without me there, but I can choose whether I'm feeding it or not. And after seeing some just really rough moments, I said, enough's enough, and I'm drawing a line in the sand. And this is my line, and leaning into that, even if it's hard and even if it's uncomfortable, and I might lose. I don't know. Everyone seems to think that, oh my God, if so and so doesn't like me and doesn't support me, and if she isn't or he isn't, whatever, like I'm not okay. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm secure enough in my why and my passion and my drive that you don't have to come feed my fire. If you don't believe in it, if you don't truly support it, if you don't love me for me, if you don't want to be in my community, there's the door. Like,
Yeah.
just go.
I want to borrow like an ounce of that confidence. And I know some girls are borrowing that because you're putting on retreats. You put on a retreat
Yes.
recently. Tell me about that and tell me a
It
little
was
about the
so
so
good. It was so good. It was amazing. Women from as far away as Wisconsin and Southern Alberta. In my tiny town, the nearest town has 230 people in it out here, middle of nowhere. And they came and you just could not have asked for a better group of women, kind, uplifting. Like that chemistry is really hard. If you haven't met someone in person to know what they're going to be like and how that group's going to work together. So it's amazing. We're already planning our next one. We don't have any details ready yet because proof of concept happened. And then we were like, and we're really busy. So we'll set the next one. You could, when we have it, it'll be announced all over the place, but we keep it small. We over deliver, under promise. That's our big thing is there's nothing worse than getting on an airplane and thinking you're going to something and then showing up and being like, that was not at all what I thought I was going to get out of it. So we try really hard to exceed expectations and pour in And it makes us feel good. We love watching the women leave with things actually done. How many times do you go to a retreat or an event and all you leave with is a list of more things that you should be doing and you're further behind because you didn't stay home to do the things you already needed to do? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a level of guilt and fear and shame that can come with doing things where you're like, "Oh my gosh, my brain is already overloaded." So I love that they get to lead with more confidence, more ways to help themselves, more ways to lead in their own lives. It sounds like this is a fun conversation. Thanks for being on today. I
Yep.
am very grateful. Is there anything else you'd love to tell the women of the podcast listening?
I do feel like we didn't really touch on the leather thing, and that was a big conversation in our DMs. So I wanna make that really clear. I took a stance against a specific company that's well known for stealing art, and I say art. I don't have a problem with mass-produced, lower quality. There is a difference between an heirloom piece and something that's more affordable for a lot of people, and I get that. My hardline stance was on a company whose time and time again have straight stolen art from artists, their drawings, their designs. And to me, it's an integrity thing. So I drew that line. And I know you and I had a big chat in the DMs and I loved it. I was like, I love this point of view. I love her perspective. But to me, it's about protecting those people that show up for me. If I have these
Yeah.
people out in my field and
Yeah.
they put their hard work into it, what a slap in the face if someone has a knockoff to.
It's a touchy bad deal because it's okay. So then they get knocked off, and it's like Prada and this conversation where like Gucci and
Mhm.
Prada are banging down China door because what I do agree with you that art is very important to protect and keep people's integrity in that. And sharing that and letting that be known, I think is worthwhile. I love what you're doing. I believe that you are on the right path and you're inspiring women to step up and have confidence in their everyday life. So thank you, Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. This is Ashley on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. And today we had Jessica Garza. She is the founder of Market in the Mountains. It is an amazing event that is held at Moose Valley Ranch every year. And I can't wait. You can go find that in the notes. It's time for you to explore Western fashion and all of the women that make up this amazing conversation. So check out this podcast, go listen back, and just remember it's always a good time to wear a cowboy boot.